At the engagement banquet, I announced that I was breaking off my engagement with my childhood sweetheart, Willow. She questioned me with anger and grievance, just because I delivered medicine to another guy. I already told you, we were just study buddies, but what she didn't know was that the so-called buddy of hers had just sent me a photo of the two of them being intimate, along with a provocation. One call from me and she'll ditch you immediately. So what if you two grew up together? In her heart, you're still not as important as I am. I showed her the photo, and Willow snapped back furiously. Makoto is more hardworking than you, more ambitious than you. You can't even get into graduate school right now. So what are you so proud of? But later, the two of them both failed the entrance exam, while I, under their stunned gazes, was recommended directly for admission to Capital University. I smiled. Only losers measure their worth by how much they weigh in a woman's heart. Chapter 1. Maybe I was simply too familiar with Willow. From the very first second of our date, I realized something was off about her. She was absent-minded and restless. She even picked up the wrong side of the chopsticks while eating. Most importantly, her eyes drifted to her phone once every 3 minutes. I asked her, "Who is it? That study partner you prepared for the exam with?" She frowned slightly, looked at me, then put her phone away. She said, I've got a difficult problem I want to ask him about. Let me see your phone." I reached out my hand. She clearly hadn't expected me to be this direct. The smile she had just forced out froze instantly. "You've checked it before." I simply held out my hand, not responding to her comment. My attitude was obvious. "Come on, George. He's just my study partner. Talking every day is normal, isn't it? You're overreacting. Willow and I grew up together. We've accompanied each other for 20 years. She rarely questioned me with such irritation on her face. My heart clenched sharply. I thought, I've probably guessed right, perhaps to prove her innocence. Willow placed the phone on the table anyway. Coincidentally, a message popped up. "Whatever. Him looking for you affects your studies, not mine. This afternoon at 2 p.m. If I don't see you in the library, we cut contact." 2 o'clock. We had just finished eating, and it was already 1:30. Expressionless, I looked at Willow frantically pressing the power button. "So, the movie later. Are we still going?" Chapter 2. It's true, before I had read the chat history between Willow and that study partner of hers. His name was Makoto. Willow added a little sun emoji to his remark. Clearly, she had put thought into it. I made no comment about this little hint of affection. Among the countless lines of messages, I skimmed through them in front of Willow. When they first met, Makoto asked, "Your WeChat wallpaper is you and your boyfriend. Then maybe we shouldn't be study partners." She replied, "We're just talking about studying. What's the problem?" He sent back a laughing sticker. Fair enough. From then on, they saved seats for each other, brought each other meals. Reading further, when I saw the string of short and long voice messages, my heart jolted violently. They even called each other to wake up in the mornings. Willow said she was too busy studying, that she hadn't replied to my good morning and good night messages in a long time. Turns out, those sleepy, intimate early morning murmurs were being given to someone else. This kind of nearly crossing the line relationship made my breathing tighten. Yet Willow, sitting beside me, looked completely calm, as if, in her mind, as long as she behaved confidently enough, everything would seem justified. She fooled herself, and thought she could fool me too. When I handed her phone back, I was smiling. She leaned in gently and held onto my arm. "I told you I'd keep clear boundaries. So, do you feel relieved now?" My thoughts snapped back. In the restaurant, Willow checked the time, then looked at me. She let out a sigh. "George, I'm really under a lot of pressure. I already planned to meet him this afternoon to work on test papers. Can't you be more understanding?" I pressed down the trembling in my hand under the table and smiled. "Sure, go ahead." She didn't have the time to wonder why I was being so considerate today. She rushed out as if every second mattered. Chapter 3. I sat in the shop for a long time, staring blankly at the ring on my right middle finger. When did I first realize something was wrong with Willow? Ridiculously enough, yesterday. Just yesterday, Makoto contacted me first. "Bro, I swear, I'm done. You not taking the postgraduate entrance exam is one thing, but have you ever thought about Willow? You showing up to see her at this hour, you know how many practice problems she won't get to finish." I asked, "Who are you?" He typed for a long time, then sent this. "Don't worry about who I am. Compared to you, her boyfriend, I'm far more qualified to be by her side." The account was an alternate one, different from the avatar Willow had saved for Makoto in her phone. But on his WeChat moments, I saw plenty of posts about Willow. On a rainy road, he lifted his coat, and Willow laughed as she slipped herself into his arms. While he explained problems, the side of Willow's face leaned close to him, and the faint glimpse of pale, exposed skin, and one photo showed her crouching down to put his shoes on, and behind them, white hotel bed sheets. They were in a hotel. Caption: my obedient little kitten. You're useful for more than studying. My vision went dark. I nearly fell off the bed. After steadying myself, I still couldn't control it. I vomited violently. None of the photos showed faces, but after knowing Willow for so many years, how could I mistake her? Forcing myself to stay calm, I took screenshots of all the evidence. In my heart, a stubborn voice said, at the very least, I have to personally ask Willow whether these are real or not. But now, the time jumped to exactly 2 o'clock. Willow had already left. It seemed, there was no need to ask anymore. Betrayal isn't a concrete result, it's the moment trust collapses. There was one more thing I originally planned to tell her today as well. Makoto said I wasn't taking the postgraduate exam, but just a few days ago, the school approved my recommendation exemption for postgraduate admission. Chapter 4. Willow contacted me again late at night. She ordered my favorite late-night snack and sent a message. Sorry, George, I was supposed to watch the movie with you. After some time, when I catch up with progress, let's go to Sonya together to see the dolphins. Okay. I took the food from the delivery guy. It was my favorite, crab roe wontons. Willow knew everything, remembered everything, yet even so, she still betrayed me. Why? Why did it have to happen? Maybe it was unwillingness, maybe powerless anger. I desperately wanted a reason. I took out my phone and called Anna. She grew up with both me and Willow. What's wrong? She asked. As soon as she picked up, I calmly asked, Anna, tell me, why do people suddenly go bad? She was silent for a few seconds. Then a notification chimed. She sent me a screenshot. She said quietly, I don't know who you're talking about, but I've wanted to send you this for a long time. Stunned, I opened it. It was her chat with Willow. Anna asked, did George get a haircut? Willow replied in confusion, did he? He didn't tell me. Anna, speechless, asked again, then who was that guy who just went into the hotel with you? The timeline jumped half an hour forward. Willow finally replied, you must have seen wrong. I didn't go into a hotel. Anna said, stop pretending. I'd recognize you even if you were turned to ashes. Maybe that joking sentence broke the stiff atmosphere. Or maybe Willow desperately needed someone to vent to. She told the truth. Sigh. I know I shouldn't have. But do you get it? Me and George, we're like my left hand touching my right hand. My hand trembled. The phone slipped to the floor. The loud crash snapped me out of the breathless suffocation I was spiraling into. Chapter 5. That night, I didn't reply to Willow's messages. I sat in the dark, watching her calls come in one after another. She called once. I counted once. When my phone was about to die, I plugged it in again. It went on until 3 in the morning. I counted 127 calls. What happened, George? Don't scare me. Pick up the phone. Please don't let anything happen to you. Leaning back against the pillow, I recalled the night when we were 18. When the college entrance exam results were released, she also called me. Just like tonight, she called over 100 times. I hadn't picked up because I was out with friends, so she came straight to the private room. In the glowing eyes of the teenage girl, there was love she couldn't hide. 566. George, I can go to Beijing just like you. I stared at her in surprise. Ever since she heard I had been recommended for admission to a university in Beijing, Willow never reached out to me again. Sometimes when I greeted her at school, she didn't even lift her head. It seemed like she didn't dare to look at me. Her long hair was messy, and that dull gray hoodie, the one she had worn the entire last year of high school, she still hadn't had time to change out of. But even like that, her beautiful, delicate face was striking. My friends crowded around me, teasing, asking who she was. I smiled and said she was my friend. Suddenly she lifted her head and asked, George, can we be more than friends? I still remember the cautious look in her eyes. At 18, Willow was afraid of falling too far behind me, desperately trying to catch up. That girl, burning with passion, made my heart race chaotically. After we got together, I told her, it's okay, we're lovers. I can slow down and wait for you. She gently yet firmly shook her head. No, George, I don't need you to compromise for me. Later, every day I spent with Willow was filled with happiness. She understood me well. She even remembered the snack flavor I liked when I was 6. But she was right. We really had known each other for too long. The sky was brightening when I finally fell asleep. This time, Willow didn't come looking for me, and she never will again. People don't rot all at once. I just realized it too late. But once I did, then we should end. Willow, we're breaking up. Chapter 6. The next morning, I threw that sentence into Willow's chat window. Then my advisor called me in to guide the new applicants on their interview experience. By the time I returned, Willow still acted as if she hadn't seen the message. Expressionless, I prepared to block her. Just then, a familiar avatar popped up in my Moments feed. Makoto mentioned me. The accompanying photo was another picture. The difference was, this one showed a face. Willow's eyes and cheeks were flushed red, looking emotionally at the person holding the phone beside her. Day off. The puppy said she was hungry, but she's already been fed. A caption with obvious implications. I took a deep breath, my chest rising and falling uncontrollably. So she wasn't asleep. She wasn't studying. Letting out a self-deprecating laugh, I took a screenshot without hesitation. Suddenly, Willow sent a series of messages. Chapter 7. Break up. Why? Give me a reason. You disappeared for a whole night. I worried all night. And this is what you say to me? Reply to me. We've been together for so long, you can't just throw me away like this. Without changing my expression, I switched directly to the delete contact page. Delete. Block. All done in one go. Reasons are meant for outsiders. As for Willow, Makoto was right about one thing. She was a dog. A scumbag dog. Back then. One of the reasons I didn't choose to take the postgraduate exam was that I didn't want to pressure Willow too much. Another reason was that my teacher said I would most likely receive a guaranteed recommendation for postgraduate admission. I hadn't told Willow the latter yet. I didn't have much time to grieve. I needed to throw myself fully into my studies. But things rarely go as planned. Willow found every possible way to call me dozens of times using unfamiliar numbers. My phone battery was nearly drained. I had no choice but to answer. The moment I picked up, Willow's suppressed sobbing voice came through. George, my family said we should go back in a few days to talk about the engagement. I know you said you wanted to break up out of anger. I haven't spent enough time with you lately. That's my fault. Can you be more considerate? My family and Willow's family had been close for generations. In the 1990s, our parents went to Shenzhen together to make a living, two small families supporting each other through hardship. Even when Willow and I were still in our mother's stomachs, we were practically considered a match made before birth. Later, when our families found out that Willow and I actually became a couple, they were overjoyed. We also planned to get married right after graduation. But now, all of that had become a joke. I hung up after hearing just a couple of sentences. I didn't have the patience to spare for her. Unexpectedly, my mom came straight to my place. George, I'm not blaming you, but no matter how busy you are, you need to look after Willow. You agreed to talk about the engagement, and then you rejected it again. I was speechless. Mom, this isn't about being busy. Then what is it? Your aunt and I already booked the place, and you haven't been home in so long. This weekend, you're not allowed to cancel. I sighed. Only then did I realize some things couldn't be explained in a few sentences. Mom had always cared deeply about my relationship, and I had only ever spoken well of Willow in front of her. But now, this was something I truly had to go home and explain clearly. Willow took the initiative to book the car, but my mom refused to let me make another reservation. In her eyes, Willow and I were probably just a young couple having a small fight, nothing serious. Everyone thought that, including Willow. On Saturday afternoon, she waited for me in front of the cafe. It was early autumn, the weather turning chilly. She stuffed a warm bag of roasted chestnuts into my hands before I could react. For a moment, the memory overlapped with every autumn we had shared. Willow smiled brightly. The car still needs a bit more time. I'll peel chestnuts for you. If the shell gets stuck, just leave it in your hand. Okay. I stayed silent. She instinctively reached for my hand, and I avoided her. In the second Willow froze in confusion. Her phone rang. She didn't have time to lower the volume, so I heard the faint whimpering on the other end. Willow. I fell. It hurts. There's no antiseptic in the dorm. What do I do? In just 1 second, Willow's brows tightened anxiously. The car she had booked also arrived at that exact moment. She looked at the car, then at me. Clenching her fists, she said into the phone, "Wait for me. I'm coming right now." Chapter 8. Willow left, and I got into the car alone. I wasn't the one paying for it, so why not ride it? The night Makoto first added me, I scrolled through all of his posts from top to bottom, so I remembered clearly, Makoto had a small dark mole on his arm, but in the photo of the injury, just now, it wasn't there. Should I say, Willow didn't even remember Makoto's mole? Or perhaps she was flustered, willingly falling into the trap. The ride was 2 hours long. I'd been exhausted at school lately, so I quickly fell into a deep sleep. When I woke up, Makoto had messaged me. It was a picture of his perfectly unharmed arm. He was even more straightforward than before. She knows I was faking it, but she still bought medicine for me. Can you make her do that? Willow said she's never going to get engaged to you, and she also said she likes people who work hard and improve themselves. You're not even preparing for the postgraduate exam. How do you have the nerve to cling to her? He even posted a real-time update. Caption, "We are believers in love. Only I can make her fall while fully awake." I pinched my brow, feeling amused. The postgraduate exam is a real battle, not child's play. Makoto still had the energy to compare himself with me. Does he even know how much progress he's made in his studies? I was about to turn off my phone when my advisor messaged me. Gio, Congratulations. You got the dean's recommendation. With your professional ability, your Capital University offer is basically guaranteed. A spark of joy lit up in my chest, sweeping away many days of gloom. At that moment, the car stopped, and my mom opened the door. Oh gosh, Gio. Auntie hasn't seen you in so long. Where's Willow? My mom brought me to the restaurant. As for Willow, I simply said she had something urgent and had to leave. Several people at the table fell silent instantly. What could be more important than discussing the engagement? I paused mid-step, stunned. Anna sat in the corner, looking like she was thoroughly enjoying the drama. She said she was here to witness childhood sweetheart's love. The corner of my lips twitched. Only a fool would believe that. Chapter 9. 3 hours later, Willow finally arrived. Honestly, I was curious too. Makoto said Willow wouldn't get engaged to me, so how was she planning to end this? How could you act like this, making Gio wait for you for so long? So inconsiderate. Willow's father was furious, and my mom quickly tried to smooth things over. Oh, it's fine. It's fine. Studying is also important. Willow must have been held up by her exam preparation. Right, Gio. My mom nudged me. I smiled politely. Yes, studying. Willow glanced at me, cautious, as if to check whether I was angry. But clearly, I was calm, even composed. So she let out a quiet sigh of relief. At the dinner table, since everyone knew each other well, the atmosphere eventually resumed. Both families chatted cheerfully. Willow sat beside me and tried to pour me a drink, but as soon as she lifted the bottle, Anna blocked her hand. What are you doing? Anna's tone was cool. It's not time for the important part yet. Why are you trying to get George drunk? He's my boyfriend. Why wouldn't I be able to take care of him if he gets drunk? They exchanged snipes. Just like always, nothing unusual. Meanwhile, my mind drifted as I listened to the parents discuss the marriage, bride price, wedding apartment, dowry, car. Every detail was arranged flawlessly, but to me, it all sounded like an empty, distant dream. Naturally, the topic eventually came to the two of us. Willow, George, what do you think about the wedding date? Willow straightened up, smiling shyly. After graduation, the sooner the better, I guess. She did not refuse the engagement, unlike what Makoto had claimed. Several pairs of eyes turned toward me, waiting for my answer. I looked at Willow. She chose someone else over me. She did something she should feel guilty about. Yet she still assumed I would marry her, didn't she? She thought I would always stand still and wait for her. Well, it's true. A bond of 20 years, who could throw that away easily? I could. I pushed aside the glass in front of me, looked away, and said, we're not getting married. Chapter 10. Except for Anna. Everyone's jaws dropped. Gio, what are you talking about? I know you and Willow have been having issues lately, but we're discussing something important. Don't throw a childish tantrum. My mom tried to smooth things over, saying maybe we should discuss it another time, but I firmly cut her off. No need to discuss anything. Willow and I no longer have a future. The moment my words landed, Willow shot up from her seat. Anger and grievance flooded her eyes. She pulled me away and dragged me outside. Her grip on my arm was painfully tight, and she spoke each word like she was interrogating me. George, enough. You're acting like this just because I went to see Makoto today, aren't you? He's just stressed from the exam. He threw a tantrum. I'm going to marry you. What's the big deal if you give him some slack? Yes, I shouldn't have left you today, but you're a man, aren't you? Can't you be more generous? It was the first time I'd seen Willow so emotionally out of control, but I knew clearly, this wasn't because I rejected the engagement. It was because I showed hostility toward Makoto. People who cheat also feel guilt. They question themselves. They panic. They get angry out of shame. Willow was trying to emotionally corner me in the argument, using my supposed mistakes to justify her emotional affair, but I had no intention of fighting with her. I pried her hand off. At that moment, the adults hurried out from the banquet hall. I lifted my phone, opening the chat with Makoto for everyone to see. I can give everyone a reason. I'm not throwing a tantrum. In fact, I don't find him worth wasting any emotion on. Turning toward Willow, I met her panicked, unsettled eyes. I smiled. So this is your study partner? Studying together, does that include studying in bed? Empathy. Who are you empathizing with? Some people can't empathize with their own boyfriend. Yet they go, empathy this, empathy that, with the homewrecker. Chapter 11. I tapped into Makoto's moments and unexpectedly found that he had just deleted me. But that didn't matter. I still had plenty of backups saved in my album. These so-called proofs of their love, which they were so proud of, became humiliating evidence once exposed, leaving Willow flustered and helpless. Willow, what is going on with you? Willow's mother was trembling with anger, pointing at her as she questioned her harshly. My mom stepped in front of me protectively, her eyes turning red faster than mine. She had truly believed her son had found someone he could spend his life with. Willow's father raised his hand and slapped her across the face. Willow didn't dodge. The slap landed solidly, turning her head to the side, splitting the corner of her lip. Apologize to George. I waved my hand. Forget it. No need. Just make things clear. I had only one thought. From now on, I never wanted to have any connection with Willow again. An apology is an opportunity for the guilty to ease their conscience. I didn't need Willow's apology, but she opened her mouth anyway. I'm sorry, George. I did something wrong. Unexpectedly, Willow didn't try to explain at all. She actually apologized directly. Her lips were pressed tight, and she stood stiffly in place. When our eyes met, I couldn't read the emotion in hers. She wiped the blood from her lip, lowered her gaze, and her voice softened. Can we talk? Just the two of us. My mom stepped in front of me immediately. Talk about what? What is there left to talk about? Get away from my son. She was so emotional that her shaking finger nearly jabbed Willow in the face, but Willow kept her eyes on me, not backing down in the slightest. I pulled my mom back and nodded. All right, we can talk, but only once. If it was going to end, then it needed to end cleanly. Chapter 12. We sat in a dessert shop. Back in high school, we used to come here often. Under the heavy, suffocating atmosphere, Willow still ordered a vanilla sundae for me, just like she always did. We once talked about everything, but now, neither of us had the courage to speak. I was tired. Ever since I found out Willow cheated, every time I faced her, it felt like I was torturing myself. I sighed, stood up, and said, my mom's still waiting for me to go back and keep her company. Let's not waste time here. Wait. Her voice was hoarse. When I looked closely, I realized her eyes were red too. I'm sorry. If sorry is all you have to say, then I'm leaving. Don't break up with me, please. Her tone was sincere, carefully watching my expression. It reminded me of many years ago, when she asked if she could be with me, just as cautiously. It made me want to throw up. I said, Willow, you didn't eat anything just now, right? You don't feel disgusted saying that. Not breaking up, what exactly do you want? One woman serving two husbands. I'm the useless husband, and Makoto is your secret lover. Is that it? You're really playing quite wild. I couldn't suppress the turmoil inside me. Even the end of my sentence trembled. I knew Willow was someone with a strong sense of pride, and I had just torn apart the last layer of dignity between us. Willow froze for a few seconds, then suddenly lowered her head and laughed. Clenching her teeth, she said each word slowly. I did do something wrong, but when you say things like that, do you have any respect for me? George, do you think I'm still 17? Do you think I'll spend my whole life being at your mercy, chasing after you? Her anger spilled out. Her fingers turned white, gripping the rim of her cup. I was stunned. So this was what she had been thinking. Once, in Willow's eyes, I was bright and unreachable. I made her feel inferior, made her feel she had to chase me desperately to be worthy of me. All these years, she kept count of every wound, every grievance. The love I believed to be flawless had already rotted full of holes long ago. Willow sneered. Since there's no going back for us, I'll just say it. Makoto works harder than you. He has ambition. You can't even qualify for graduate school now. I don't know what you're so proud of. Chapter 13. Actually, I had never understood one thing. Since Willow already liked someone else, why didn't she just be straightforward and break up with me? Now, I finally saw it clearly. Willow was someone who worshipped strength. She liked men who were driven and ambitious. Her last sentence carried heavy mockery. Even though my heart twisted in pain, I still realized what she said was a reason she made up for herself. Whether from her standards in choosing a partner or from the perspective of our long relationship, I was her best option. Makoto was nothing more than a momentary infatuation. He might indeed be driven and hardworking, but Willow forgot, truly ambitious men would never let themselves sink into an inappropriate relationship. Willow and I had known each other for 20 years and loved each other for 4, and now, things had fallen apart in such an ugly way. Does it hurt? Of course it hurts. Every word she said stabbed into my heart, making my breath sting. But that was all. What needed to end must end. Once it ends, I still have my own path to walk. I was much more composed than Willow imagined. I simply curled my lips slightly and said, if you really want to talk about graduate school, graduate school, please. You're doing a cosplay of someone preparing for exams. A cold voice suddenly cut me off. I turned around and saw Anna leaning against the doorway. Willow's expression froze instantly. What the hell is that supposed to mean? Anna walked over and raised her eyebrows. Exactly what it sounds like. Hard to understand. Willow snapped back. This is between the two of us. Who asked you to interfere? Anna shot back. The two of you. And the guy you cheated with, he's not a person. Willow completely exploded, slamming the table hard. Eyes reddened. Anna glanced at me, her gaze steady and assessing, as if checking my reaction. Then she ignored Willow entirely, grabbed my wrist, and pulled me out of the shop. Chapter 14. Anna said she came under my mom's orders to bring me back. I rubbed my forehead helplessly. You didn't have to step in for me. I wasn't losing the argument. She responded lightly. Sure, I knew it. You always find a way to handle everything. Then she added, if you need me, just call anytime. The car had arrived downstairs. Anna and I had been neighbors since childhood, so we waved goodbye like always. But this time, she stood motionless under the street lamp below my building until the light in my bedroom turned on and I leaned out the window to look at her. Only then did she finally walk away. I faintly felt something was different, but I didn't think too much about it. The next day, Willow's parents came to my home to apologize on her behalf. They had always taken good care of me. Seeing two elders, both nearing 50, apologizing with such heartache, even I couldn't help feeling a bit soft. Gio. Willow just lost her mind for a moment. You two have always been so good together. Just this once. Forgiveness is off the table. I cut them off decisively. Feeling soft is one thing, compromising my principles is another. Seeing how firm I was, they eventually fell silent. I spent 2 good days at home keeping my parents company, and in the meantime, cleared out everything in the house related to Willow. When I returned to school, I suddenly saw a familiar figure at the gate. It was Willow. She came closer, holding back anger as she questioned me. Was it you? I was baffled. What? She stared at my face, curling her lips with a mocking edge. No need to pretend. Besides you, who else is so desperate to get revenge on Makoto? I thought you were really that indifferent. Is it that hard to admit you care? I was so speechless my mouth twitched. Please don't act insane at the school gate. Thanks. I walked around her, trying to leave, but she blocked me again. Say it. You dare say you weren't the one who exposed Makoto's WeChat posts on the campus message board. Chapter 15. I slowly turned my head. So that was it. I was wondering why Makoto deleted me. Someone had recognized Willow in his alternate account's photos, and her previous wallpaper had been me. The whole mess, a scumbag and a shameless woman, was exposed in full view. That enthusiastic student collected their deeds, made a full slideshow presentation, and threw it straight onto the campus message board. The whole campus exploded. Makoto deleted his alternate account overnight. If Willow weren't standing right in front of me, I would have applauded, but I couldn't hold back. I laughed out loud. Then sure, take it as if it was me. I don't mind. Besides, he posted everything publicly. Isn't that exactly what he wanted? Attention. What? One slideshow wasn't satisfying enough. If watching you two embarrass yourselves counts as caring, then, how could it not count? She pointed at me angrily. George, you. I stopped smiling, pushed her hand aside, and walked straight toward the school gate, leaving Willow standing there, furious and helpless. It was a good show, but I didn't have the time to enjoy it. There was still a lot to do for my postgraduate recommendation. I quickly sorted out the chaos of the past few days and dived headfirst back into my studies. 4 weeks. I went back and forth between my dorm and the library nonstop. Time passed, and the most important moment finally arrived. Mid-September, waiting for the admission notice. I sat in front of my computer the whole day, excited and anxious, until, ding, a new message appeared on my official academic portal. Peking University welcomes you. You have met the admission requirements for our master's program and have been granted admission. I shot up from my chair. My heart was pounding wildly. Even though I knew this result was practically certain, the joy still hit me so hard it made my head spin. I was about to study at the university I had dreamed of for so many years. After that, I collapsed back into my chair. All the tension and pressure finally melted away at that moment. Staring at the ceiling, I felt an unprecedented sense of relief. Everything was moving in the direction I had always hoped for. Chapter 16. After that, I went on a graduation trip with my friends. We visited many places. I hadn't thought about Willow for a long time. Until later, when news of my guaranteed admission reached Willow. It was the second day of the postgraduate exams. Actually, my mom had been proudly spreading the news everywhere, but to avoid affecting Willow's exam performance, her parents had kept it strictly hidden from her. So in such a completely unprepared moment, Willow suddenly showed up at my door. After months without seeing her, she looked utterly exhausted. Her eyes were bloodshot, and the once lively, pretty face had lost all radiance. Only when she saw me did a faint spark of light appear in her eyes. George. She tried to grab my wrist, but I dodged. Crossing my arms, I glanced back into the house. My parents were still taking their afternoon nap, so I pulled Willow out onto the street. For the sake of your parents, speak quickly. Her eyes instantly reddened. Her voice strained. George, I didn't actually want to be with Makoto. Back then I was under too much pressure. We weren't in the same school. We barely saw each other, and he just happened to appear, so She couldn't finish. I finished it for her. You slept with him, but you still love me, right? She froze for several seconds, I let out a laugh of disbelief. Listen to yourself. Even you can't say that with a straight face. Willow pressed her lips tightly together, tears welling up. She wiped her face messily, lowering her gaze. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. By the end, she was only choking on her sobs. I simply watched her cry with a blank expression. Inside, there wasn't even the faintest ripple, just like an outsider watching a play whose ending was already known. When I grew tired of it, I turned to leave, but Willow grabbed me abruptly. I've already cut things off with Makoto. Give me one more chance, please. I'm begging you, please. George, I won't ever do it again. I stared at her for a moment, then suddenly smiled, showing my white teeth. Is that so? Funny, because I heard you're pregnant. The child's Makoto's. Right. What is it? He doesn't want to take responsibility. Chapter 17. In Willow's stunned gaze, I pulled her hand away, looked straight into her eyes, and said, Willow, this is the last time I'm saying this to you. We're over, and we've been over for a long time. Stop finding excuses for yourself. The moment you agreed to let Makoto get close to you, this relationship was already tainted. You allowed yourself to get carried away. It was your fault. Yet you kept trying to pin problems on me. You said I was arrogant, but honestly, the one who thinks she's untouchable is you. Just like you told Anna. Willow, we really have known each other too long enough that it felt like my left hand touching my right. But you're not the only one who gets tired. My love for you made you forget to look in the mirror. Morally, yes, I'm more decent than you. And emotionally, I'm not someone who can't live without you. From now on, we should never see each other again. I had always said Willow was a proud person. Originally, I wanted to leave her a shred of dignity. But honestly, there was no dignity left in our relationship. The pregnancy, that was something Anna told me. Ever since the campus message board incident, Makoto and Willow were attacked relentlessly by public opinion. They couldn't stay on campus, so they moved out. She and Makoto rented a place together, preparing for their exams in that little apartment. As for how their exam preparation went, well, just as Anna mocked earlier, they really did study something else. After telling me everything, Anna, usually carefree and laid back, suddenly sighed. I really don't know whether telling you all this will make you happy or sad. Back then, I had just received my admission letter, grinning from ear to ear. Listening to gossip is always delightful. When she saw I was genuinely smiling, Anna suddenly said, Since you're in such a good mood, can I ask you something? What is it? Would you consider giving me a chance? I froze. Then Anna quickly forced a playful smile. Just kidding. After a moment of silence, I said, Anna, did you consider your usual personality when you said that? You hardly ever joke. She stiffened, then murmured, Sorry, I shook my head and cut her off. Before the next firm, genuine love arrives in my life, I won't consider dating anyone. The air was quiet for a long time before she softly replied, Okay, George, I also want to say, this time, it wasn't your fault. I nodded, understanding her meaning. She was afraid that being hurt by Willow would make me afraid of entering another relationship. I smiled calmly. Of course it wasn't my fault, and besides, I don't need to date to live my life. Chapter 18. Willow didn't come looking for me again, not even after the new year. But through my parents, I heard a lot about what happened between her and Makoto. Makoto never intended to take the postgraduate exam seriously, he only pretended to study. Even before the results came out, he already knew he wouldn't pass. So he used the child in Willow's belly to threaten her, demanding she marry him immediately. He came to her house several times, harassing them so much that Willow's parents were overwhelmed. As for Willow, toward a man whose entire being contradicted her standards in choosing a partner, she had long grown utterly disgusted. That was also why she came back to see me. In truth, she never loved Makoto, and she certainly didn't love me. From beginning to end, the only person Willow ever loved was herself. She liked the emotional value and psychological support that strong men gave her, because those were beneficial to her, nothing more. Later, Makoto contacted me too. His alternate account had somehow been revived again. The first message he sent was, I know you can help me reach Willow. Can you tell her to answer my calls? Out of sympathy for him being abandoned, I replied, why bother contacting her? She's just a woman. Unexpectedly, he exploded. Quit pretending. Don't think you're great just because you got into grad school. Willow said before that she hates men like you, so controlling. You don't even understand what she really wants. Clearly, he was still hopelessly delusional, so there was nothing more for me to say. On the day the exam results were released, a violent storm raged outside while I stayed curled up in my room playing games. Suddenly, my mom knocked on the door. Gio, I hate to tell you this but Willow has been waiting downstairs for a long time. I pulled open the curtains and looked down. Willow, dressed in a thin, snow-white dress, was standing motionless in the pouring rain. Gio, She insists she wants to see you. I closed the curtains, lay back on the sofa, and shouted, "Don't bother with her. She's insane." Chapter 19. Willow had the abortion, and she failed the postgraduate exam as well, just as I expected. Of course, Makoto failed too. Thinking back on all the arrogant, provoking things the two of them once said, all I feel now is amusement. During the days I waited at home for my admission letter, Willow still came looking for me often. Sometimes, when I was reading in a cafe, she would choose a seat far, far away. Then she would play a song I liked. I didn't acknowledge her, and she wouldn't approach me either. We kept a silent, mutual distance. Once, our lives had countless intersecting points, but now, we would only be two parallel lines looking at each other from afar. Occasionally, memories of the time we once spent together would slip into my dreams, so dreamlike, yet so real. People who once loved each other are always hard to forget, but time, objectively, moves on. No matter how deeply she hurt me, I'm grateful that I have a heart strong enough to withstand it. When school started, I packed my bags and went to Beijing. Willow had no way to stay in Beijing anymore. She couldn't survive there, and by my side, she no longer existed. In my daily routine, I rushed between the lab and endless revisions of my papers, so overwhelmed I sometimes wanted to bang my head into a wall. I also met many new people. One day, when I walked out of the lab, I suddenly saw someone holding an umbrella and cradling a takeout box while waiting for me. My instinctive reaction was to dodge, but she stepped forward quickly and caught me before I stumbled. My eyes widened. "Anna." She fumbled and pulled out a piece of chocolate, gripping it nervously. "What's wrong?" "Low blood sugar." I looked down. "Vanilla flavored." "How did you know I liked this flavor?" "Oh, just random." Anna said her company, which hired her through campus recruitment, had opened a branch in Beijing, and she had been transferred here. While helping her move, I complained, "No way, it's really such a coincidence." She smiled, eyes shimmering with hope and restrained emotion. "Yes, truly a coincidence." Seeing her, for a brief second, a faint shadow of Willow crossed my mind, but the truth was, our lives would never intersect again.